Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name's Hank Suttler,
And I'm Dr. K.
and we're here again finally with another podcast of holistic health and healing. Stay with us.
Welcome to Holistic Health and Healing, a show offering solutions for the body, being, and beyond. In each episode, we discuss topics that empower you to take a holistic approach to step into your unique voice in this world. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. K and Hank Suttler, the Sonic Shaman.
Cool. That was so retro. I have to update all the logos in that. But welcome, everyone. This is our first stream in quite some time, but we intend to be back every Tuesday at 11, so our West Coast friends can enjoy us too. And we're going to talk today about manifesting, and not just about what you want, but also what stops it. In fact, I think that was the original topic Dr. K gave me, and then I tweaked it when I made the graphics and everything. But it's not just, and Bashar talks about, Bashar is this channeler that I follow, particularly. I think I turned Dr. K onto him a little bit, but they say that your core vibration is your core vibration, and you're always pulling, like, what is your authentic self? What stops you is the beliefs that you bought into that aren't really who you are. And it's a matter of sifting through and shifting and transmuting those. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And as always, you are always welcome to make comments, ask questions, because really you make the show. And we already have Debbie saying, good morning. Good morning, Debbie. Thank you for being with us. So excited to finally be doing this again.
It's been a while. So a lot for me, things have changed. So I should probably give a heads up on that. I'm no longer really integrative health management. I have rebranded to One Ripple Effect. It's looking at and changing that one thing, or what is that one thing in your life that maybe it's two, if it would change everything. Would change everything in your life. Like if this would change or this would change. And so it's in tune with today of like not getting what you want. So if you got this, like if your health changed, or if you got in a different relationship, or if you got a new job, man, it would change my whole life. That's what I need. It would change my whole life. So what is that one or two things? So that's really what I hone in on now. I still give a little bit of health advice, but I'm really kind of veering out of that, because what I find is people come to me with all sorts of health conditions, but at the end of the day, what they really like, gosh, if I didn't have such a stressful job, or I wasn't in this relationship, or if I wasn't, living with my mother-in-law or whatever it is, my life would be so much better. It's like, okay, then that's what needs to shift so everything else shifts. So my gears have shifted a little bit. So that's my shameless plug, 2 cents on that, in tune with getting what you want in life.
Yeah. And that's really, like, a lot of people are focused on what they don't want and focused on the things that are showing up that they don't like. And then the real question is, what can you shift and change? And where would you like to go? Like, I saw like an inspirational talk just the other day with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And they compiled him in throughout the years of his career saying the same thing. You have to have direction. You have to know where you want to go. What is it that you want to change? What is it that you want to do? Because without that one part, you're just kind of like a boat drifting out at sea with no direction. And once you start making choices, it's starting to propel that boat with choice towards the destination that you're choosing. And that's what we kind of forget about. We just are kind of letting life happen to us instead of through us, and we stall out in a way.
Right. So what is it that you want to happen? Because if you don't even have clarity on what you want to change, then the universe doesn't hear that. The universe also doesn't, is a very important point. The universe doesn't hear, I don't want any more this. And I'm just going to be and give an example of my own. I don't love doing hormones. That's not my niche. I will say that right now. So I always I don't want any more clients that come in with hormone issues. I can, yes, give some feedback, but it's just not my favorite thing. So the universe doesn't hear, I don't want. So what do I keep getting? More and more and more of that. So avoid saying, I don't want any more of this job. I don't want to work with more people. I don't want to be in this relationship. The universe doesn't hear that. Flip it, change the perspective, change the perception, and state what you do want. I desire to be, I desire this, I desire that, whatever it is that you desire, state that, focus on that, and feed that. not the problem. And I think, yeah, what Hank said is we often focus on the problem. I don't want to be in this anymore. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to. But that's not the message you send out there.
And if you're thinking it in words, because here's the thing, it doesn't matter what country you live in, the universe is manifesting for people regardless of the language, because the universe doesn't speak language. It doesn't speak English or Spanish or whatever. It speaks energy. And so if you're just focusing on, I hate not having money, all the universe really gets is the vibe of not having money, not the words of it, but the lack of it. And that, in fact, the word want means lack. Rich people want for nothing, rich people lack for nothing. So even if in English, it's like, if you say I want money, you're saying I lack money. And so it's like, well, what do you want to focus on? I want to focus on abundance in my life. And so you look at, where am I abundant already? And then what choices could I make to create more of that? Because now you're not focusing on the problem of not having it. You're focusing on what could I do in the moment to change it. And I just saw this beautiful analogy. It was, I think, an Indian mystic, and he was talking about how the wake of the boat is the past. It's like you already have had the experience of not having something. So if you're focused on that, you're focused on the wake of the boat. That's the past. And the past does not power the boat. Only the present moment and choice powers the boat. And then you need two components to that. You need your part and the universe's part, because you could go out and work only yourself and not ask the universe for help and still spin circles. It's a matter of like co-creating your experience with all that is, with the universe, with your concept of God or deity or whatever the case is, source, whatever you want to call it, because you're not in it alone. So both parts of the boat got to get rowed, otherwise you go in a circle.
Totally.
And you got to know where you're going.
You do. And if you don't, that's okay. Because sometimes we don't know our purpose and we're like, I know I don't want to be where I'm at. And maybe you can give some advice on this, Hank. Like, what happens when you're like, I don't want to be in the state that I am right now, but I don't know what my purpose is. And we can dive into that and find it. It's not that hard, but sometimes it's right in front of us. Most of the things are right in front of us. We're just missing it because we're too noisy in the head. But what would you suggest for somebody that like knows they don't want to be doing what they're doing or in the situation that they're in, but they don't know what the purpose would be? What's the next step?
This back out a little bit and recognize that there's a distinction between passion and purpose. And where master manifestors, because there's a lot of people that can create very easily, and purpose, like your destiny, the passion of the soul might be feeding people. And it's like a really broad thing. And that passion could be played out a million different ways. And where we start being like a stone skipping across the water is, okay, I know my passion, but I'm getting it confused with purpose. And every time I'm on a purpose and I find something new that's exciting, I'm jumping ship and focusing on something else because I figure, oh no, that's it. Oh no, that's it. Oh no, that's it. So part of it is recognizing that you have a theme that you're actually here to experience. And maybe that's feeding people. Maybe that's helping people like me and Dr. K. Maybe it's beautifying the earth. And you can do that through being a landscaper. You know, there's these themes, and it's important to find the theme. And that the way to find that, a tool from Bashar, is it Bashar? Or maybe I follow a couple of different people and I'm not sure which one it is, but it's like, if you could do anything you want and not have to worry about money, and you could do it all day and not get tired of it, what would that be? And that's kind of in line with what your passion is. And then how are you able to express and experience your passion, your beingness through doing? And that's more life purpose. You got soul purpose and you got life purpose. And when you can line the two up and have congruency, that's when life becomes magic, because the universe just wants to deliver to you what your core frequency is, which is what your passion is. And it's already there. But we have so much stuff on top of it because mom and dad say, you can't do that. You can't, do what you love. You got to do what you hate to get money to then do what you love. Yeah. And we got this weird programming to be part of the cog in the machine or whatnot.
Totally. We are so subjected to what our parents wanted us to be, what our family wanted us to be, what society wants you to be.
Especially society.
Mm-hmm.
The society is a well-oiled machine of how do we get the most out of people and put the least into them. That's corporate efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. We do also have Debbie just contributing here. How about I'm open to better? Yeah, that's just like, receiving. We've talked about that in the past about like you tell the universe, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And the universe goes to deliver it. It's like ordering a pizza and the pizza dude shows up on your front door and you don't open the door to receive it. So like a lot of it, the universe is like recapitulating all of reality to bring you something. And then you don't open the door.
Mm-hmm.
You
Totally.
even paid for the pizza. You put effort into bringing it and then you didn't take it.
Totally. Oh gosh, that's it's a loaded little piece of information, but sometimes what I see is it's painful because people, even for myself, sometimes we get so resistant. I think that's the word is resistance. If you're not getting what you want, if you don't have what you want, then somewhere there's a resistance. Somewhere you are pushing back and saying no. And there's many times where I've come across people that say, I need things to change. If I could only get this, if this and this and this would happen. And I drop some suggestions. It's like, well, no, I could never do that. No, now's not the time for that. I couldn't do that. That would never work. Then, somebody's offering you a hand. Somebody's offering you a suggestion on a potential solution. May not be the exact one, but some even options to look at and say, maybe that's plausible. But we dig our heels in and we stay where we're at, yet we want things to change.
Well, part of that is your ego, which an acronym edging got out, right? Your ego only can do things based on past data. And it would rather you relive the worst day of your life over and over again because it knows you survived it. It cannot perceive future possibilities. So you have the ego there keeping you safe. Yeah. And then you have like your intuition and your knowing of these possibilities. And so you get your inspiration from the heart. And then it goes up to the head and they're going, that's a silly idea. We don't know what will happen if we quit our job and go and just take this leap and become a healer. And, and then you end up, you want to choose with your heart, but you talk yourself out of it with your head. And then there's like this disconnect.
Yep. Totally. And that happens on so many different levels. So you have to be willing to go beyond that, even if you don't see it, even if it makes no sense. Usually when it makes no sense is usually when you have to go beyond and take that leap. Like, okay, I really want this and I'm going to trust the universe that I'm going to get caught on the other side, or I'm going to, I'll jump off the cliff, but that's where you get your wings and you will fly. Because I've gone off that cliff. Trust me, not by choice, but I kept asking the universe, I don't want to be in my medical group anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. And I started putting intentions out and, well, if you're not going to leave and this is really what you want, well, we're going to do it for you. And it wasn't pretty, but I was okay on the other side. I'm still here. Happy to say I'm still here. So I made it, and actually I'm much freer and better. And I no longer have to work with that. So if you're in a corporate position and it's like, it's so stressful for you and you would like, I'd rather just, dive into my sewing skills or whatever, or landscaping, but you're like, I could never do that because how am I going to make money? How am I going to support my family? And I get it. Then you have to start making a little bit of a transition. Just start, get your LLC, start something on the other side. So you have it and build it. And you're like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do both. You gotta take the inspired action. That's the other thing I want to comment on that a constant, and don't mind my cats. They are screaming in the background. They're playing. But I just learned the difference between, I had many mentors that are like, you have to take action. You have to take action. If you want something, you got to take action. And I was taking forceful action, like hunting people down, going to these network events when I didn't want to go. And sometimes you do have to do things that maybe you don't love to do, but there's a difference between inspired action and action. And that's the recent thing I learned. So inspired action is when something flows and it feels good. Like, hey, I would really love to talk to this person at the store and let them know about my product. And that inspires you. You get excited about it versus, well, I don't know how I'm going to get myself out there. I guess I got to go to these network events, or I guess I got to like randomly Facebook 50 people a day to see if they're interested in my product. It doesn't feel good. It's a forced action. When it's a very, very forced action, then you're sending a different frequency. I'm not saying sometimes you don't, maybe you got to do a few of those little things, but try to take more inspired action. Like, gosh, I think I'm going to go walk down to that store down the street. They might sell my product and they might be like, it excites you. So there's a difference between taking action, which is more forced action, and inspired action.
And inspired action might not make any sense. I gave this example, we were having a how to become money class or something like that when I did Access, and somebody had this inspiration that they just needed to. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. Like they were at the gym and they saw somebody and they just kind of shined to them and they're like, I need to talk. They just knew they had to talk to them. It was an inspired action. And they were also like a startup company and they were wanting like an investor or somebody. And that person turned out to be like an equity venture capitalist or something who just had money come back from an investment and was looking for his next thing. And that inspired action of talking to some random person at the gym who I have no idea who it is turned into that next opportunity. But but if you try to make sense, like I used to work at the bank. And I had a friend who her uncle, or is it her grandpa, somebody was passing or close to passing, but they weren't very lucid. And they just wanted one more day with their grandpa. And I kind of tuned in. I'm like, I don't know why, but yellow flowers, bring him yellow flowers. And whatever that inspired action, though had no logical sense whatsoever, brought him back totally present. She had an amazing day being able to talk to him, hearing stories and all that. And he died the next day. So like, that's the thing, but like you get that inspired action from the heart. And
Yes.
then all of a sudden your head goes, that makes no sense. Why would we do that? And you talk yourself out.
Yep. And that's another form of resistance. So the resistance is on all these little levels. Like, you know, why would I trust that person?
Trusting yourself.
Yeah, you're not trusting yourself. So you got to go with, if it keeps pinching you, quit pushing it back down. Quit pushing it back down. If something continues to pinch you, don't push it back down. The universe is trying to get it to you. It's trying to help you, but you keep resisting it and resisting it. And I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to take the action. And then you don't get what you want. So you do have to release those levels of resistance. And sometimes those can get really layered. And I've seen them pretty darn layered. I have a wonderfully gifted friend. He is just amazing, but he's still stuck in the same cycle. I'm like, in order to get out of this cycle and get your stuff out there and be the amazing rock star you are, you're going to have to break this cycle and you're going to have to do something a little bit out of your mind, you know? So
out of your mind. Exactly. Not with the head.
Out of the head. Yeah. Because your mind is the mind, but don't forget there's the subconscious on top of that. Yeah. So you got to get out of that and you got to break through and say, I'm going to do it. And you know what? Sometimes it ends up being a moot point, but I'm in this point now. It's like any opportunity that comes, I don't know what's going to come out of it. So I take it. And sometimes it doesn't end up being anything, but maybe down the road it will be. Like I had an invitation this past weekend to go, a random person on Facebook that I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I really don't know the person. The person knows a few people I know, but he's like, oh, I'm having this birthday get together and do you want to come? And I'm like, wow, this is kind of weird. I don't even know this person, but I'm like, you know what? You never know where you're going to go and you're going to meet somebody. And they're going to be, maybe that wasn't what you needed, but there's somebody there that you need to meet. So I went and it kind of ended up being a moot point. Nothing happened, but maybe something down the road's going to happen. I shook a few hands. You never know where you may run into those people down the road somewhere and you make a new connection, a new friend and a new person that may help you. You just never know. So I try to jump on every opportunity that comes. So sometimes I'm like, well, why did I bother doing that? Nothing came out of that. Sometimes it will, maybe sometimes it won't. And you'll learn to discern where you're being pulled and where you're not. But when the opportunities come, just visit them. And sometimes there was network events that I'm like, I really don't want to go. I had to drag myself, but I ended up meeting somebody there that I needed to meet. So that's my 2 cents on that. Like, don't negate everything.
And the other thing is, like, when my very first show I ever did was at the John S. Knight Center, the Seek the Light Expo, way back, and that was like, I don't know, $400 or $500 for a booth. I forget now, and I had not even broken even my first show, selling aromatherapy and things like that. And I'm thinking, this show sucks. And I was talking to George, who was my mentor at the time. He's like, you don't know how a show is till like at least 6 months down the road. You don't know. He's like, just stay open-minded. I'm like, okay. And, I don't know if it was like 6 months on the dot, but pretty close. I get a call from somebody who I met at that show wanting to sponsor me for teaching a private aromatherapy class. So I went out and had like 8 students at, $400 a student, plus like they all bought oils and kits and everything. And I made like thousands of dollars in a day from a show that I thought sucked. And so like that's just like whatever shows up, like just having the confidence that, you know what, whatever shows up is 100% what I'm supposed to experience. What can I make with it? That's the real choice. Like, what can I make of the experience I just had? Because the experience is what you have. There's nothing changing that. Resistance to what shows up is really our biggest suffering.
Totally.
You accept
Totally.
it, you're an allowance of it, and from there, you choose the next choice. And if you don't focus on how badly it sucked, well, the universe is like, well, if you think it sucks so badly, you're a great manifester. I can make it suck badly. You get no fruits from it. Energy flows where attention goes. So like it's a real, you really want to stay no matter what shows up. All events are just events. We're the ones who make up problems. That's what Osho said. He said, Osho's an Indian mystic. He said, I have not met one person who actually had a problem, only people that made problems.
We make problems because things just are. I have another master that I follow, and he always says, what shows up for you is for you. Yep. And I thought that's really
yourself's pretty good at manifesting things. You know, it's giving you what you need. It's just your choice to meet it halfway, in a sense. We did have a comment. Judy was saying, well, first we had a happy Tuesday from Amy watching on YouTube. Thank you. And we had Judy saying, I love this balance of personal agency to act on your own behalf and surrender to the divine inspiration, which is very much outside of your control.
Totally.
But know that you're controlling it on some level. Like you're there really is all these opportunities coming, and more than half of them we're just missing. We're missing them.
It is all about resistance. I think that's really so much of it, and how much we are not in allowance.
And the number one thing where resistance comes from is fragmenting yourself to the future based on what's not here yet, or to the past, what was here already, and all the while you're not rowing the boat. And that's the thing. Like, well, that was the past. What did I learn for it? How can I use that now to make a new choice where I can propel me into the possibility I would like, but not get so caught up in the vision that now I'm so focused on where I'm going that I'm not watching out for the iceberg right ahead of me.
Yeah.
And so like there's like this thing like, yeah, you have the vision to push yourself off, but then it's like stay in the moment. And you know, I forget the name of the guy. He was always like, don't focus on the flowers. Like you plant flowers, but if you only focus flowers, the flowers never come. You have to till the soil, and you have to plant the seed, and you got to water, and you got to weed, and you got to fertilize and make sure there's enough sun. That's the process in the moment. But if you forget all that, the flowers never bloom because you didn't care to them. So what do you need to do now to care for that seed of possibility you're planting? That's the real question to be in. And where have you bought the idea that you can't? So you're letting go of the things that don't serve you anymore, and like actually making the choices to take the next step. And that's the real magic. It really all comes down to presence, being in the moment. The head is good at fragmenting, but the heart is good at, really being in the moment and choosing for your highest and best expression of yourself.
The mind will always pull you back. It will always protect you. It will always tell you you can't. But you are beyond that. You are bigger than that. So don't listen to your mind. It's lying to you all the time. It is lying to you.
The mind's job, what you want to tell it is like, now I've made this choice, mind. You can help us figure out how to do it, but you're not going to talk us out of it. Because the mind does have some good stuff in there, but you don't want to get caught up in the past and whatnot.
The comment. So I don't know if people have questions. Where are you stuck? Where are you stuck?
Yeah.
That you want to get beyond. You're like, it ain't moving and I don't know what to do. Yeah. I don't know how to get what I want.
Melissa saying that she loves Osho. I've yet to read a book about Osho. No, I've read like one chapter of one book, but I had a friend, Pram, who just did whole presentations around the work of Osho that were just life-changing for me. And if you want to look that up, it's Why Life Sucks, The Voyage to Overcome the Misery of Everyday Living. He has a Facebook page, and he has like a 2-hour presentation on that, which is just phenomenal. And that's where all my Osho information comes from.
That's good. Life sucks because we focus on it.
We make it suck. Life is life. We get to make the meaning whatever we choose to make it. So be careful what you focus on.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, we do focus. Another little tool that I kind of give clients sometimes too is go through your day for 24 hours, maybe 2 to 3 days. Watch where you're putting what's the repetitive thought in your head? Like, I don't want to go to work. I can't stand this. I hate my job. I don't want to be in this relate. What's the repetitive thought? Like, I wish this would change. I'm tired. Like, what is the running theme? Because we really end up waking up with the same thoughts and the same pattern over and over. You'll find that you're really thinking about the same things, and it's usually something that you want in your life that's to be different, but it's not. So that's another tool that I give. The other thing is, let's not live in the past, but sometimes to grab the energy, write down we've forgotten all the places that we were given. And that's another exercise I give people and I do it myself too. Go to all the places in the past where you've been given and taken care of, and know you've been provided for. You've been given, you've been pulled out of situations. So if it happened then, it can happen again. If you choose to make a different choice, you're not going to die on the other side, unless you truly jump off a bridge. You're not, but if you like, okay, I'm going to make the active effort to move out of this relationship, or I'm going to make the active effort to get out of my job. I pick these topics because those are very often the big topics. Or when people are stuck in anxiety or depression and then the same cycle, well, something's got to get out of that cycle. So what is it that's creating that? And what action can you take, inspired action, to get out of that? Instead of continuously thinking about it, I don't want to be in the state. I don't want to feel like this. And I know you don't. Well, then you have to take some sort of step. And if that means you're in a system of some sort, maybe it's a medical condition. These are very big topics. Like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. But then people are like, but I can't afford. Don't ever say you can't afford. The universe hears that. I don't choose to do that right now. And I understand people's circumstances are tougher, but there are options. So start looking around for options.
And then the question, like, if you don't think you can do something right now, ask the question, what would it take? And like, if you're looking to manifest something, there's more ways to manifest than just money. We have the idea that in order to do A, you must have B, but the universe, it's actually, you could have B or C or D or E. Like, there's an infinite number of ways that something could come to you, but we get caught up with that it's only one way. And the other thing coming to tell people is, once you do have your vision of where you're going, be mindful not to enmesh with your vision. You are not your vision. You're still you. And the reason I say that is enmeshment with the vision can turn your service into servitude. If you get too enmeshed with where you're going, and it becomes like like the vision is just something you're choosing. But if it becomes you, then it can be like your passion could become a prison, is what I was just being led to say. So it's like, there's just care to be taken that as you move forward, you want to maintain your sovereignty as a being and not identify that I am my passion. Like, you're you. Passion is a separate thing, and maintain those two things as separate, because enmeshing with the vision and the passion can backfire.
Totally.
Okay. That was not completely.
That's a good one. That's a good thought. I was going to have you elaborate on that, because I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So that is service becomes servitude, passion becomes a prison if you enmesh too much. That's kind of like the story of Moby Dick, right? He became, and I've never read the book, so I can't like really speak to it, but I believe he was obsessed with finding this whale, right? And it wiped out everybody because of it, because it became the driving force, and he lost his own identity with his vision. And people do this all the time with their day-to-day things. Like, one of the big problems with people being able to leave their job to be able to do something different is they have become enmeshed and identify, I am my job.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example. How many people have the prison currently of your current profession or your current place of employment, or if you're a homemaker and you can't do anything else, I have no means, or whatever the case is, like your circumstances can become a prison because you've enmeshed and identified with your circumstances as you. So like, this is broader than just a passion. It's your current circumstance could be the same thing. You've enmeshed with what has showed up. Instead of it being a situation, you're now like, this is me. Yeah. And that's where you need to, take yourself out, uproot yourself, get yourself your own little pot. And everybody has their own little pots, can be in the same house or the same office space, but you are maintaining your identity as a sovereign being that is separate. At the same time, we're all one. That's a different topic, but like you really want to maintain that, you are you having an experience, and you're not identifying with and getting absorbed into the experience as me, in a sense.
Don't be afraid to be something else too. And it's maybe kind of a spin off of it, but like even me being all the education that I have, like, am I just throwing it all away? That was 7, 8 years of a lot of hard work. But if I want to become a landscaper because that's what I enjoy, there's nothing wrong with that. Be free
How
of
many
that.
people became a doctor because their parents told them to? This isn't, I don't think this is Dr. K in your case, but there's some people, whatever their parents say, that's what they do. And then they find out that it wasn't for them. We did have a question. Judy's saying, I don't know why I'm asking this, but can you talk about the energy of comparison regarding manifestation? That is a very zingy thing that happens to people. Because if I'm a healer and I look at somebody, I'm like, oh, they've been doing this only for a year, and look at, they're doing all this stuff, and I'm not doing this stuff. And like, I'm too busy with what they're manifesting than working on what I'm doing. I'm fragmenting myself, looking at someone else's experience and thinking that they're right or wronger, whichever the case may be, because it can go both ways. You can be like, oh, well, look what they're doing, they suck. And like, you're the hero of your own story. Don't pay attention to someone else's story, in a sense.
Yeah, comparison will crumble you, really, because it is so easy to get derailed. It will derail you. I get in this hang up of, I'm doing all these videos and I don't have 20,000. I did it today. I'm like, how does she have 20,000 followers in the past? And she's grown so much in a year, but good for her. How does she have 20,000 followers and I only have 3,000? It's like, how, you got to get back in your lane and figure it out, because it will drain your perspective. It will drain your mission and your purpose. So comparison is not a good thing.
It'll deflate your balloon.
Totally.
And I had a similar thing. I did a live stream on TikTok or whatnot, and at the highest I had like 100 people, and it was all good. And then I watch this guy. All he's doing is peeling like raw eggs on camera. So he's like taking little tweezers, and he has like 10,000 people watching this and sending stickers. And I'm like, whoa. But what I realize is what he's being is, he has a passion. Like, he loves what he's doing, and it's coming through, and people are identifying with him showing up and just doing what he likes. And he finds a lot of peace and solitude in peeling eggs.
And people watch stupid stuff.
It's not. I mean, for him, like, there's something therapeutic, and he's just live streaming what's working for him. And so, like, if you're going into a live stream or what we're doing with an expectation, then like expectations of resentment's waiting to happen. And expectations can happen because you're comparing yourself to Larry, Curly, or Mo, or whatever the case is. But the thing is, like, if you let go of that, you cannot possibly compare yourself if you are being present in the moment, because that person you're comparing to, are they here right now? The only person I should be comparing myself to right now is maybe Dr. K, because she's here with me right now. But then what if instead of comparing, I'm collaborating and I'm creating?
Yeah.
And now we've got the whole namaste thing going. May the God in me greet the God in thee for the highest good. How can we help each other catapult higher and higher and help walk each other home and all that? Comparing is just such a fragmenting energy.
Yeah. And it's when instead of comparing, bless them and say good for them, because comparison immediately brings out, I think, some frustration. It brings out a total shift in energy. Like, I'm not good, and all kind of stuff can come out. So bless them, good for them. If they can do it, so can I. I can do it too. Yeah. And then just, I've almost sometimes stopped watching people, because if you can't control it yet, then just don't watch it. Just don't, get it back into your own frame and say, okay, where can I shift? What tools can I find to make myself better so that I can be comfortable where I'm at and start blessing people for where they're at. Bless people, because it will come back to you. That's a really neat trick. Whenever you don't like somebody, whenever they're bigger, better, stronger than you, bless them. Good for them. May they be blessed. May their business grow even more. If they're already millionaires, make them billionaires. Bless it, because the universe, you send out a frequency of blessing that's going to turn right back to you, instead of, oh, what a jerk, can't believe he's,
And that kind of loops back into what we were talking about at the beginning. If you're comparing, what are you actually doing? You're focusing on what you don't have.
Yeah.
And energy flows where your attention goes. And just the nature of comparing, that's like a distraction. That's like you're putting the power outside of yourself times two, because now not only are you comparing to someone else that does have it, you're focusing on what you don't have. So you're starting to amplify the very thing that you would be liking to change the most. And if you do find yourself comparing, probably the one tool would be, that's really cool that they have that. Well, one, is it alive for me to look to create that for myself? Is that something that I desire for myself? Because maybe you don't. Maybe the very thing that you're looking at is a distraction from what your soul passion is. Because I don't care about followers. What I care about is helping people. And if I show up for my intended purpose, then that is a side effect potentially. Because you're here to help people, not to grow an audience. You're here to help people, not to get comments. But thank you for your comments. You know, speaking of, we did have Anne Marie just check in and saying hi, Dr.
Hi.
K and Hank, and glad to see you back on. And we have Magic Mike saying whip, whip, which is what else is possible. Shared you. Thank you so much for the share. Really appreciate that. But hopefully that helped with comparison. And just being the question, is there more about comparison that is relevant to talk about?
It's a tricky thing to navigate. It is. It can be very challenging when you're at your chapter 1. Those people are maybe at their chapter 5 or 10, and you want to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I got
that a lot with a former colleague.
Not an easy thing.
Yeah, they would look at what I'm doing and like, but I've been doing this since 2008. And it's like, well, you know, I think people are doing great. That if they're doing even, you know, comparing yourself to someone, it's really, don't read someone else's story and think it should be your story, because you have different ending chapters. You have different happy endings in a way. And it's just a dangerous thing.
It is. The comparison is a dangerous thing, yet it happens. So if it's too much, then just turn it off. Just don't watch those people. Don't get down the rabbit hole of Instagram, Facebook. It's very easy to stop and look at a person and go, oh my God, just don't, for right now, just focus on you. And if you were the only person in this world, you're doing pretty darn good. Like if there was nobody else doing any kind of business but you, that's kind of where I start putting my energy. It's like, okay, I am the only one around me, and I am going to propel myself. And if I do come across somebody, I immediately just bless them. Good for them. Good for them. May they expand. Because
total blessing is one of the 5 attitudes of godliness from Conversations with God. To the degree you can be totally blessing of something, is to the degree you can be in total allowance, is the degree you can be in total gratitude. It's really like, in the sense that we are all one, even though we're all separate. Like if you are condemning somebody else or jealous of somebody else, like it's creating more separation instead of unification. So it's like that blessing, even to your worst enemy.
Yes.
Thank you. Because the things that are showing up that are in contrast to what you're looking at, that's important too, because in the absence of that which you are not, that what you are is not. And so the things that aren't preferred serve purpose, because without those things, you could not know experientially that which you are choosing. So like everything has a purpose. So truly for everything, even your worst enemy and your worst experience, you can be grateful for, because it's giving you exactly what you need to have the experience you're having with the perspective that you're having it. So like the trauma and drama of your past serves as contrast for the life that you're creating, and it serves as medicine for your fellow travelers. So all those things have purpose, because I got quite a childhood, but I don't look at any of it negatively. It's all what made me the healer that I am today. And that's like, I wouldn't trade that for anything, because otherwise I don't know, maybe I'd still be a banker if I didn't have all that trauma. Happy to push loans and undo underwriting and stuff like that. But that doesn't sound fun at all.
Yeah. All the things that have happened to you have gotten you to where you are now. Be grateful for them. So blessing the enemy is maybe another topic, because I did a video on this, I think around either Christmas or Thanksgiving. I did a very quick little Facebook Live on bless everyone, bless the people you don't like. It's not for them, it's for you. And I had people reply with, well, how can you do that how can I bless somebody that has hurt me so badly?
No way. And then we just ironically, Melissa said she was a banker too. And I see you switched over to YouTube. Thank you so much for watching us there. I think it helps the algorithm a little bit more or something like that. But that's a great idea. Why not next week? our topic, because we got to have our parking list, because we have always talk about topics and we forget. So next week's topic can be total blessing, or maybe I'll expand it out and we'll call it the 5 attitudes of godliness. That's more a CWG thing, but it all falls in together. It's like really being in total allowance of everything that shows up with a positive vibration. And the reason why they call it 5 attitudes is because language is so feeble that it cannot, like some concepts like total gratitude, total blessing, they're so big that language doesn't do them justice. And that's why like the 5 attitudes are really one. They're all the same thing. It's just such a big concept that language is inadequate.
It's the same vibration. At the end of the day, it's still a vibration of love, peace, and neutrality, which is what godliness is. And that's why I did another video saying, if love was all there is, I think I did for Valentine's Day. At the end of the day, love is not like, oh my God, I love somebody so much. It's a peaceful feeling. It's just a peaceful, omnipotent feeling. And if you came from that all the time, there would be total alignment and flow. But we're human, and the goal is to get to that space as much as possible. So
yeah, very good.
Yeah. So I think
oh, Mike says he just saw 2 hawks. Cool. I take that's a validation that should be the next topic, or that love is
blessing others, blessing your worst enemy. Yeah. Blessing the people, anything or anybody you're frustrated with.
Yeah. Not totally last call, but I'll throw that out there, that if you have a question or an inspiration, because we're all about tangents. If you we've done pretty good at staying on topic today. Not always do we do that.
Yeah.
But if you have questions or inspirations, please let us know. We're happy to take the conversation any direction. And we asked before, like, what if you have something specific in your life that's showing up that you feel is stopping you from having the life that you want, or if you, whatever it is, like, feel free to bring that up too, and we can cater some of our conversation directly to what's going on in your world. So,
and don't be shy. That it's a very safe space. I think everybody here is, you hope, non-judgmental. It's not our goal. Here's an exercise for everybody. Go 24 hours without making any judgments on anything, nothing. Good luck.
Yeah, I've tried that before. I haven't been too successful at it. But also, like, give yourself a break. If you take up that challenge, when you do find yourself judging, don't make yourself wrong for judging it. Right. It's like being an allowance of your own judgments is good. Because, like, if you judge yourself for judging yourself, now you create the amplifier effects. Because now oh my gosh, I'm insecure again, and now I'm judging myself for being insecure, and I'm judging myself for judging myself, and then you just start, and next thing you know, you've just totally spun out. And so, like, look, just notice your judgments, and where can you reframe them, and where do you just have to be an allowance of them, because that tells you. And whatever the judgment is, then you ask yourself, what's the belief? What have I bought? What lie have I bought that makes that true for me? Because your mind, you might know better that that's not what you really want to believe, yet you find yourself judging it anyway. So judgment can become a tool then of helping yourself shift to where you want to go. And we got Ronnie saying he has no complaints, and he's grateful and thankful regardless.
That's awesome. That's really cool. When you're in that state, you're on the road. So I don't know. There's no other questions, comments, but we're on the judgment piece. We don't judge. So if you have a place that's sticky, like, not sure how to handle this situation, I don't think anybody here is going to mind. We hope that we keep this a very safe space. Please post and see if we can help you move through something.
Yep. And if you have something and you want to email, like, if you go to my site, there's a contact form. You can submit things. Like, we probably won't read it now, but, like, if you had something you want us to talk about, but you are mindful of not wanting to have your name on there or whatnot, you can email us, hank@thesonicshaman.com. You can email and just put the subject line, live stream topic, and then put in what's on your mind, and we can create some content around it and help you out. And then, of course, Dr. K and I are both available for sessions and things on our website, so I have to take down the thing, but you can see it. My site's just my name.com. Dr. K has her new site, which is really cool. I love the new logo too, onerippleeffect.com. So like we're available, and we both work virtually, and I have an office in Westlake. So if you need us, we're around.
Totally. We are here.
Yeah.
I'm here to serve. I also have a nonprofit. So if people just can't truly Scout's Honor can't manage where I'm at with fees and things, I do have a nonprofit. So it's by donation only, whatever amount you want to donate. I allow, I haven't decided whether it's going to be 3 phone calls or 5, but I will sit with you and chat with you for 20 minutes and give you some guidance on where you might be stuck and what you need to do to kind of shift out of things. Because one of my, I guess I just call it my gift that I'm starting to see as I started with integrative health management is I'm able to look in and say, okay, I think this is where things need to shift. This could be the 1 or 2 things that need to shift so everything else in your life gets better. I'm for some reason able to kind of do that. So if you need that, it's there for you. I just have a nonprofit, a legitimate 501c3. So I can always move you over to that direction and we can tackle it from that end. So we all have, both of us have options.
That's new to me. I did not know you had that.
That is new. Cool. Yes, that is new.
Yeah, you had mentioned that. We do have a question from Melissa. She was asking, so I'm a multi-passionate ADHD entrepreneur. My challenge can be knowing what to focus on. Any insight for that?
Prioritize. What is the biggest thing? What energy pulls you the most?
Yeah. Bashar would say, whatever choice in that moment holds the highest passion, choose that and take it as far as you can take it until you can't take it any farther. And then at that point, you choose again. And so you're always following your highest passion and you take it as far as you can take it until you can't anymore. And if there's a whole bunch of things that all feel the same, then I would really can they be pullable? Are there some that are all on the same trajectory that you're choosing in a pocket of them? Because sometimes choices are gradients. It's like little sections like on a color wheel. There's some things that are along the same gradient. And can you pull some of them and choose something that's going to further a couple of them? And that one is especially true. There's some people when we were talking about life purpose versus soul purpose, the destiny is the theme, but then you can play it out a million different ways. Popcorn creator sometimes, I got the destiny and I just keep popping around and different ways to express that destiny. But they're all the same theme. So you start honing in and what choice could I make that's honoring this whole little section of things? Or within the little section, which thing is the most passionate? And then you kind of drill it down a little bit. Hopefully that is helpful.
Hopefully that helps. And I think grounding too can be very helpful. If you feel like you're going in a lot of different directions, grounding can be helpful. Just
grounding and sometimes ADHD, sometimes it's distractions. The ego likes to distract. So there's a joke I call it age activated attention deficit disorder. And that's when you're not showing up in the moment. All right. And you're being distracted. And I might know somebody or a couple somebodies that are really guilty of this, but they're going into the kitchen and they're about to make something to eat. And as they do that, they notice, wow, my plants really need to be watered. And so they start watering the plants, but they have to go get the watering can. And on the way to the watering can, they notice that this laundry needs to be done. So they stop watering the flowers and they grab the laundry, they go to put it in, but then they notice something else. And the next thing you know, they've done 20 different things, started 20 different things, and then to completion. Now, the person I was actually inspired about, they actually do finish the things, but the idea is that if you are finding yourself being distracted in the mundane things, then it's take a step back and really, what is the focus for the soul? You're being distracted by the mundane world. What's the real inspiration for the soul, and look at those things. But it's really easy to start thinking about what do you need to do for the groceries or this or that, and those things are important too. And that's where, and I know for myself, I almost have to section time out a little bit. It's you gotta okay, this is when I'm going to do home things. When I'm at the office, I've been really good. When I'm here, I'm working on the office. I don't even have my computer at home right now. It's only at the office. So when I'm home, I can do home stuff. When I'm at the office, I'm doing office stuff. And I've started to partition my time a little bit. And I got to amp that up a lot more. But that's been helpful.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. And I catch myself. Okay, wait, you're trying to do multitasking. Number one is not great for the mind, and it's not great for the adrenals. We have this tendency of multitasking and thinking we're going to get more done. It's not, because you're not focused and you're not in the moment. You're fragmenting all of your energy. So bring yourself back and catch yourself. And I'm sure you can be like, okay, I'm going all sorts of different directions here. So let's finish the task at hand. What is it that I'm focusing on right now? Let's finish that. And if you really feel like there's so much to do and you don't know where to start, because that's very easy to do, especially if you have kids and you have a lot of things like, how am I going to, the brain goes into overwhelm and it goes into the future and I got all this stuff to do. Time chunk. I set a timer for 45 minutes and okay, I'm going to tackle this project right now for 45 minutes. When that timer goes off, I finish it up in those 2 minutes and I go on to the next thing. You will get more done if you time chunk in 45 minutes. That's a thought you could try.
And with lists, I just saw a piece on this a bit ago, like the importance of actually doing lists. Or I have this amazing task app that does something similar. Like you know what you need to do, and you track that you've done it, or you cross that off the list. You actually get a dopamine hit. Like when you have that little sense of accomplishment, you get a dopamine hit. And the universe like has created us that when we do things that are satisfying and things like that, we get a little chemical reward, right? So like you can leverage that and actually make yourself a list and cross things off. Even if you don't think you like lists, make the list and put on there, make the morning coffee, make a TikTok video, do the laundry, like the things that you're going to do anyway, throw some of those on the list too. Because when you cross it off, you get a little dopamine hit. And then like you actually start to create a little bit of momentum for yourself for doing other things that might not be as passionate or fun.
That is totally true about the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
That is totally true. Yes.
We're very chemical beings.
We are.
And there was a whole thing I watched just recently, like how oxytocin, I think, is another one, right? Am I right?
Yep.
That mothers get it when they nurture, and dads get it when they play with the kids. They have different release mechanisms. So like a dad nurturing a child doesn't get the same hit as a mother. A child gets it both, no matter which one. But they go to mom for the nurturing, they go to dad for the playing. The child's getting it both ways. But so it's just an example of how we're kind of wired chemically to do these certain things, and it's interesting. And we should research that a little bit. That could be a whole fun conversation, just like how to use chemistry to create what you want.
Yeah. Dopamine hits. Yeah.
Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. We got it all. Yeah. And Melissa was going back to her comment as we wrap up here. She said, I journal every morning and ground. I think it's setting up routines. Routines are so huge as long as they don't become robotic. You want routines and they're really important, but if they become like automatic, then like it's possible that you could set them up and then not be fully present for them because it's become routine. So you want conscious routines for creative expression and following through from day to day. And then she also said that she sometimes writes ta-da lists, writing it down what I completed if I didn't have a list. That's a great idea. Write down your accomplishments for the day. If you didn't make a list and cross it off, ta-da list. I love that. Ta-da.
I like that too. That's really cool.
Hi guys, you're coming in right towards the end. Hopefully you can watch the replay. We've had a lot of great information and things today. This has been so much fun getting back to it.
We're back.
Yay. Any final comments, guys, while we wrap up? We definitely want to end before the end of the hour here, because I don't know. I actually had the intention that if we were going to go past 30 minutes to try to put a little video break so we could break up the podcast in 2 chunks, but I will be better prepared next time. I couldn't find my little breakup video that I had, so we'll remember next time. And she says, "Oh, she's missed it. Glad to see you're back." We're glad to be back. It's long overdue, and it feels different this time. I think we haven't been on in a while. We both had things going on, and I think we're on the other side of that. And it's like it feels really good. We connected the other day. Dr. K came over for dinner. Anya made some cool German food, and we just connected. Like for real connected for the first time in a long time. And from that came the inspiration to do this again.
Back on. Yeah.
Or before I think we were doing it because we felt an obligation. Like we used to do it, we should do it. No, like now it's like we want to do it, we want to be here, we want to help you guys out.
And watch the obligations. Like that's what Hank was. If something becomes routine, then the energy is not in it anymore and you might have to shift it. So if you feel like you have to do your morning routine, like I get there's things you might have, like you have to take your meds or you have to maybe eat breakfast or something like that because your body won't function. But you have some energetic things that you do, like a certain thing that you say or do every morning, and it becomes more robotic and routine, and it's no longer producing something for you, then maybe it's time to shift it up a little bit with something that does light you up, because things do fade out and you do up level and you do change. So if you feel like, well, I have to do this every day because this is what I've been doing for the past 5 years and I got it. If the energy and it's no longer there, then let's look at that and shift something and start, maybe use that routine, but use something different around it or start a new routine. So that's a good point, to not become robotic. Yeah, I guess if anybody has other topics that you want us to talk about, please toss those in. Like we got one, blessing your enemy is probably maybe our next topic, or maybe routines or tools could be a good topic, like 5 tools that produce what you want or that change or shift things for you, because sometimes you don't know what to do. And if we can help there, topics that you guys want us to talk about, toss a comment in.
Yeah. I will leave with a tool. If you really don't know what to do, choose something different, anything different from what you've been doing, because at least you'll have new data. At least you'll have something different. And then you can, maybe that sucks too, but at least you have more data and you can choose something else in. So like that would be my final parting tool for today, would be, if you don't know what to do, just start choosing something different, not just choosing, because we tend to choose the same thing over and over and over and over again because it's become routine. So what would it take to choose something different? And we have a Melody just rattling off topic. She's like inner child healing, shadow work, transmuting. So we got 3 topics right there.
Put them on the list.
Yeah. Did you have a good final little tidbit to give before we go?
I think I gave some of those, like change your routines if they're not working anymore. Write a list of things, that places you've been given when you feel like I keep not getting what I want. Look at all the times you have gotten what you want, because we tend to forget, we tend to focus on what's wrong and not what's right. So to pull in the energy, write down all the times you've been given. Your parents paid for you when you were born, right? You got food, you didn't have to pay for any. You're always being given, but we forget all the times we have been given and we're not getting what we want now. So, and then the third thing is avoid using the word I don't want, I don't like. That's, the message isn't, it comes through very foggy and it's not coming through as this is what I want. So if you want a different job, don't say I don't want this job, I don't want this, I don't want these clients, I don't want, say I desire, use the word desire instead of want, because want means lack, but I desire, and picture it, feel the energy going, and then take inspired action, not forceful action.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you being on, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.